catch the sun and dance away. All my friends right by my side, they're lighting up the darkest night. Now they play our favorite song. Everybody sing along. The sunlight makes me smile. My friends are dropping by. No one will break my stride. This is a good time, I'm feeling fine.
안녕하세요.
Hello.
하.
Welcome to LCK
네,
2020
2020 LCK
Spring
스프링
Split.
14일 3주차 수요일
We are
경기
back
찾아왔습니다.
with LCK week
안녕하세요,
number 3
김민아입니다.
pre-match
오늘
analyst
뚫린
test.
함께 할게요. 안녕하세요.
Joined by Mina Kim,
네,
Victory,
안녕하세요.
and Lyra.
네, 벌써
And this is
2주가
Jason with
지나가고
the
이제 세
translation.
번째 주를 맞이하게
And week 2
됐는데요.
is over. It
이런
was
일들이
full
많아요.
of big
왜 이렇게
matches.
경기가
Africa versus
길까?
DRX, T1 versus Gen.G.
경기
However,
시간도 그렇고
it's
그
true
안에
that
이제
we had a
킬이
lot of
많이
long
안 나오기도
games
하고, 심지어
and
킬이
less
나올 만한
kills.
상황에서 또 좋은
And there are a lot of
세이브로 그걸
situations
흘려내는
where
모습까지 나오다 보니까
teams
팬분들
avoiding
입장에서는
to
조금,
not
좀 시원한
having
경기가
fights
나왔으면
in the
좋겠다.
middle of
이런
the
이야기 좀
game
나올 수 있을 것 같아요.
because
저 같은
due
경우는
to
이제
the
어떻게
scaling
말씀드리고
meta.
싶냐면 이긴 팀에서 느긋하지 않냐.
That's mainly
왜냐하면
because the
뭔가
winning team
자기들이
wants to
교환을 할
take
때
time and
약간
they do
조금씩만
not
가져와도
want to
좋다는
fight
약간 그런 교환을
because it
선택하는 것
kind of
같아요. 약간 타워를 바꿀
creates
때도
space
커버를 많이
for the
뛰고 약간
losing team,
LCK가
the
다른
teams in
리그와는
the
다르게
behind to
약간
turn
라인에 대한
around.
욕심도 많고 약간 이런
So they are
면이
very
우리가 볼 때 약간
defensive
지루하지
in
않나
such
생각이
situations.
듭니다.
네, 정말
But
솔직하게
this week
지루하다
will
이렇게
be
얘기해 주시는 분들이
10.3.
있어요. 굉장히
네, 네.
많아요. 네.
I mean,
저희가 다
We
알고
will
있고요.
be
느끼고
having
있습니다.
more of a
일단
short
먼저
game
지난
or
일주일부터
games with full of
만나보시죠.
actions.
야, GRX의
So,
상승세가 그러니까
issues of
패승승
last
뭐
week,
이런 게 있긴
DRX
하지만
the only
어쨌든
team
계속 승리를
without a
이어왔거든요.
loss.
그렇죠.
They defeated Hanwha Life 2-0 and Africa 2-1. So their win streak is not stopping so far. They are on the first place with 4-match win streak. And they are on the first place for ESPN power ranking.
그렇죠. 심지어 이 팀이 아직도 포텐셜 약간
And
잠재력이
still,
있다고
a
느끼는 게
lot of
초비
people
선수 그리고
are
캐리아 선수의
expecting
슈퍼
more
플레이까지만
from their
봤던 것
potential.
표식도 껴주세요.
같아요. 효식 선수
So,
잘하고 있습니다.
네.
The key
그
factor
캐리아
of this
선수
huge
말씀하셨듯이
momentum
아,
is
이게
Keria.
맞나 싶을 정도의 플레이 보여주고 있죠.
With this pipe performance, he got 12 votes for POG in this game against Hanwha Life Esports. He got 200 POG points so far. He is on the top on the support POG ranking, and he's getting 30.2% of DRX POG votes, which is the highest number in his team. However, KT and APK, their storyline is the other way around. They are both on a 9th place with 4 matches losing streak. Well, some of the people expected APK to have a hard time. However, KT, their 4-match losing streak is a bit surprising.
네, 그리고 아칼리 밴율 100%가
And
무너졌는데
10.2 trap card was Akali. So her 100% ban rate is no longer existing. However, we found out that she is not as strong as we expected. So it was not banned by T1 for 3 times, and Africa also opened this against APK for once, but she only managed to pick up 1 victory so far. And with one more critical nerf coming in on 10.3 patch, well, I think it's a good buy for good. And we had some of the exciting picks throughout last week in LCK. Soraka on top lane, Tryndamere top, and Ivern in the jungle. And Hanwha Life Esports was the team that was trying so many unexpected stuffs. However, there was not many success in this tries yet.
저 같은 경우 이제 아이번 같은 경우는 선픽으로 나왔어요.
Ivern was actually a blind pick, so Lyra expected some of the comp around Ivern, and he also stole Herald, making some good plays, but this game also showed why Ivern is so weak and not preferred by other teams yet.
살려줘.
Cube saying save me here.
아, 큐베 선수 꼭
That was not a very Tryndamere-ish line, but well, they did have a hard game.
뭐 캐리아 선수 엄청 대단하다는
So,
점도 있었고요.
Keria
하지만
is
또
really
재밌었고요.
popping off. He
하지만
is
가장
really
인상적이었던 아칼리의
cool-headed,
100% 밴딩이
calm, so
깨졌다는 게
it's really
아닐까 싶습니다.
unbelievable that he
지난주까지의
is a
밴딩을
rookie
만나보도록
player.
하겠습니다.
So let's talk about the top 5
2주차
pick and ban rate
밴딩률이죠.
champions. Week number 2. So Akali affiliates are still hitting 100% pick and ban rate, but both champions are not having
저
a
같은
high
경우는 이제
win rate.
세트 5는 약간
Akali's win
카운터를
rate is
당하는
only
챔피언들이
25%,
탑에
and
갔을
also
때 한타
affiliates
시너지 혹은
has
팀에게 이제
has
한타가
below
얼마나 기여가
50%
되느냐에
win
따라서
rate.
고승률이 나올 수 있다는 걸 보여줘가지고
And
탑은 역시 기도를 하면서
Sets
한타나
still
하는
looking very
라인인가라는
promising.
생각이 들
4
정도로
win and 2
약간
losses
온갖
so
세트의
far, but
고승률이
he
눈에
will
띕니다.
face the nerf in this 10.3 patch. And Orn has the highest win rates among these 5 top pick and ban rate champions in week number 2. So I think it's really most significant to see how well the champion can commit in team fights. That's the point where people decide whether it's a good champion or not, and whether the champion can find the success in game.
e스포츠는 뭐 승률이 반반
Misfortune
적당히
in
활약을
bot
해주고
lane
있다고
is
그렇게
recovering
봐도
its win
되겠죠.
rate,
자,
but
이렇게 뱀핑률
it's already
살펴봤고요.
getting
이제
nerfed in
지난주까지
10.3 patch
해서
as
순위를
well. And Lucian is
만나보겠습니다.
picked
말씀드렸듯이
mostly for
DRX
solo
4전
lanes, but
전승.
it's not
KT와
having
LCK가
a high
붙어가고
win
있는
rate.
가운데 이제 그리핀,
And this is
샌드박스,
the overall
하나생명,
standings for
담원이
LCK.
예상보다 성적이 나오지
Dragon
않고
X
있습니다.
is on top without a loss yet, followed by Gen.G Africa T1. KD and Africa are on a tie for the 9th place with 4 matches losing streak. And we in the middle we have 2-2 tie from Hanwha, Hanwha Life Esports, and Griffin.
약간 강팀이라고
Daman
제가
and
개인적으로
Sandbox
생각을
used to
했는데
be a very
경기력조차도
stronger
약간
team,
떨어지지 않았나라는 생각이
but
들어요.
their
캐스파컵에 비해서
performance
샌드박스는 특히
has
더더욱 경기력이
been
떨어진 것
really
같아서 보기 아쉽습니다.
steps
네,
down.
공식적으로 뭐
starting from the
내부적인 이유가
Caspa
있겠지만
Cup.
어쨌든 빨리
I think
경기력이
they
올라와서
really need to
좋은
figure
모습
out what the
보여주길
problems are,
바라겠고요.
and they need to
그리고 이제
solve it
담원
as soon
게임의
as
너구
possible.
선수가, 그러니까 담원 게이밍이
And
5세트를
this is the
이겼는데
POG
혼자
standings
POG를 다
of all
가져갔어요.
players.
기존의 너구리의 강점,
So despite
담원의 그런
Damon's
스타일이 여전하다라는
hard time,
긍정적인
Noguri
신호도
is
볼수
still on the
있겠지만은
top
적어도
rank
불구하고
in the
지금
POG
성적이
standings,
만족스럽지
followed
못하고
by
담원에서 과제가
Faker,
나왔다는 얘기도 있고 왔고요.
Chovy,
또
Clint
재밌는 건
on a
이제
300
공동 2위의
points
페이커
tie.
선수 같은 경우에는 이번 주차에 굉장히 인상적인 경기를
Especially Faker had a
보였었고
very
실제로
impressive
POG
games this
투표에서도 꽤
week,
많은 표를
and he
얻었지만
gained a lot of
단수결 면에서 다른
POG
선수들이
votes.
가져가면서 2주차에 POG를 아직 획득하지 못했다. 이게 또 재밌는
But
포인트 같아요.
interestingly, he did not win any POGs in week number 2 despite his clean performance, so maybe there is still more room for him to kind of get more POGs in the upcoming weeks.
말씀하셨듯이 과연 이게 담원 게이밍에게 좋은 일이냐,
So
좋지 않은
Noguri getting all the
일이냐는
POG,
조금 더
is this
이번 주에도
really a good
지켜봐야
news for
할 것
Damwon
같습니다.
Gaming?
자,
I
그리고
think
이번
we
주
have
가장
to,
중요한
and
점이
Damwon
있죠. 바로
has to figure it
10.3
out.
패치가 진행된다는 건데요.
And the most
지금부터
important thing of the week,
공유해보도록 하겠습니다.
10.3 patch.
네, 유미
So
세주안이
these are the
리얼
champions
사냥.
getting buffs.
유미,
Yumi,
사냥은
all
리얼
basic
사냥.
skills are buffs, so Lians will be really happy about this. So it's gonna hurt you more. And Sejuani looks pretty viable now, and we've already had some Sejuani games last week, even before this patch.
근접 챔피언 상향까지 이루어집니다.
맞아요.
그게
This
어떤
is
느낌이냐면
actually a good effect for
싸워라. 약간
melee
라인을
champion
이렇게 둔
in
거예요.
lanes.
세주안이
So
버프는
maybe
약간 이런
Riot
느낌입니다.
wants
팬분들
some melee
좋아하시겠네요.
champions to have
네.
more fights
그래서
during the
세주안이
laning
브라움을
phase.
들고 같이 누울
And
여유가
Ezreal
있어요.
is also about to
그렇게
make
연결되어
his
있죠.
comeback
노는
on
거
the
금지
Rift.
조항 이런 거 없나요? 자, 이어서 아지르와 코르키 그리고
Moving
갈리오도
on, Azir,
사냥이
Corki,
됩니다.
and
제가
Galio
정리해
is getting
드리도록
buffed
하겠습니다.
as well. So we are a bit afraid, fans are a bit afraid to see again the Azir versus Corki mid lane. But as a lot of LCK teams are preferring late games, I think those two champions will definitely have higher pick rate upcoming this week. And with Sejuani buff and Galio buff, we will see more and more Galio games on the Rift. And at the same time, a lot of champions are getting nerfed. Akali is nerfed in every possible way. So I think it's a goodbye for now or for even longer period of time. MF was having a very low win rate. However, well, looking at the solo ranks, actually it's still really preferred by a lot of players. And Rumble nerf is specifically for the mid lane Rumble.
항목들을 보면 좀 원한이 있나 싶을 정도로 아칼리가 치명타를 받았습니다.
Kali got a
자,
very
이어서
critical nerf
아펠리오스,
over
세트,
here.
세나
And
등등도
moving
지금
on,
하향이
Aphelios
되는데
set
어느
Senna.
정도인가요, 이게?
The 3 new champions are getting
네,
nerfs as
아펠리오스는
well.
너프가 사실 만월천과 관련된 거기 때문에 실제 게임에서 진짜
So,
영향이 아예 없다라고
But
봐도
Peter
무방할
really
것
thinks
같고요.
that Aphelios
세트는
nerf
너프에도
is not a big
불구하고
problem,
여전히 좋은
and
챔피언,
also
완전
set,
못까지는 아니라고
despite
그렇게 평가를 받고
his
있고,
nerf, it's
세나는
still a
원딜
very strong
세나
champion.
저격이고
Well, it's
서포트
not
세나는
an OP
여지가
anymore, but
남아있지만
still,
기존에
it's a
이제
very
세나에 대한
good
선호도를
champion.
SK 기준으로
And
생각을
Senna,
해본다면
well,
좀 어렵지 않을까
actually,
하는 생각이 있습니다.
LCK did not ever prefer Senna previously in week number 1 and 2, so this will not change the draft a lot. And the most important thing, the jungle patch. So I guess Lyra would be really happy with this, especially, well, the Krog is giving you more XP. Well, it takes more time to clear, however, it's not a big deal in competitive games. But still, because it takes a bit of a time to clear out, well, the lane proximity will be still controlled, making the junglers to stay in lane. But with this increased XP, the junglers will be so happy.
정글러들이 예전에 비해서 숨통이 트인 건 맞지만
So
지난 19
now
시즌처럼
there is
성장 위주로 갔다 오고
more
라인업보다
area
레벨을
for the
좀
junglers to
찍어가지고
breathe.
캐리하는 이거는 아직
However,
아니라서
still we
이거는
will
좀
not be
지켜봐야
able
될
to
것.
see
어쨌든
hyper
이런
carry
것들을
AU
정글러들이
coming out of
따라갔으니 좀더
junglers.
공격적이고 과감한
But still,
판단을
this
하는
enabled
요소로
the
대회에
junglers
작용했으면
to
좋겠다.
be more
그게 많은 분들의
proactive
바람인 것
and
같습니다.
more
그리고 그만
aggressive
징징거려라.
playing
네,
in the early phase.
숨겨진 마음도
No more whining
있고요.
from
자,
junglers,
이렇게 해서
please.
10.3 패치까지 이번 주
And this
당장 오늘부터
will be it
진행이
for the
됩니다. 기대해
10.3
주시길
patch
바라고요.
summary.
이번 주 어떤 일정들 펼쳐지는지
For last,
화면으로
let's check out the
만나보시죠.
schedule for this week.
자, 오늘 젠지와
Today we
하나생명을
start
비롯해서
off with Gen.G
GRX
versus Hana Life, and match number 2 will be GRX versus T1, the biggest match of this week. Both teams has so many teams all around the world, so we're gonna have a huge amount of viewership today. And tomorrow, 8 p.m. KT versus APK. One team will finally get a win. Well, so if you say you're in this team and if you lose on that day, I mean, you just can't imagine the atmospheres after losing that game. This is a must-win game for both teams. And Sandbox versus Summer Gaming at the end of this week, it's a battle of pride. They both made it to LCK together. They were having a great time last year. However, this is the time to collide.
공통점도 있고요. 반드시 이기고 싶은 경기일 거라고 생각을 합니다. 자, 이렇게 해서 이번 주
this will be
일정까지 모두 만나봤고요.
The end of the
3주차 경기
pre-match
처음
Elon
보시죠.
stats for
젠지와
week number
하나생명의
3.
대결.
So
지금 바로
let's
만나보시죠.
start Gen.G versus Hana Life Esports, game number 1.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Week 3. It is spring. I'm super excited to be here because today is a ridiculous day to start off with. We've got our drafting lords in Hanwha Life and Gen.G, the saints of the LCK at the moment. And then Dragon X versus T1, probably one of the biggest matchups we could possibly have. In fact, Dragon X's week is a real rough one for them. They have to take down T1 and then Gen.G to hold on to that top spot.
Yeah, and I mean, today is going to be really exciting, obviously. This is one of the best days that we've had in LCK 2020. Dragon X versus T1. That's a real
Teddy versus Def, like there are so many things to talk about here as far as this matchup. Once again, we get Chovy versus Faker, always something that we love watching. So that is going to be an amazing matchup. Also, Cuz versus Pyoshik is going to be exciting because, of course, Cuz debuted on Longju Gaming, which was then Kingzone, then now Dragon X. And he did the Royal Road on that team, and that's exactly what Pyoshik is trying to do with the same squad. So let's see whether Cuz is going to let him. But first, we have Gen.G versus Hanwha Life. So opposite team color, least possible fight is an interesting one, but Gen.G's macro is very exciting, and they're pulling out the unexpected plays, whereas Hanwha Life are pulling out the unexpected picks.
Yeah.
Unless you're LS.
Well,
the league
you know
savant
what?
himself.
On 10.3 is the Yuumi change.
Yeah.
And so Yuumi
Pretty broken
is
right now.
pretty broken, but also Ezreal is going to have a resurgence inside of the AD carry role, which is really nice because we've been seeing some diversity in all the regions, as well as LCK, in the AD carry position. And so that's very nice to see, which is obviously the next point, first 10.3 patch matchup.
Yeah, remember, we've got Ruler, the Kalista player, the Kai'Sa player, does like to bring out some off-meta picks here. Hanwha Life's absolute ace Haru is taking on his former team in SKT. Not his most recent former team, but former teammate in SKT, Clid. Yeah, so he sat behind Clid on SKT, but also he was a member of Gen.G alongside Cuvee. Of course, these are the two standard players for Hanwha Life. No subs for both Cuvee and for Haru. And so they will be playing both games against their former squad. And let's see whether they can really pull out all the stops to get that revenge that they're looking for against, mostly Ruler and Life as the long-standing players of Gen.G.
Really interesting. The average win time for Gen.G, 31 minutes, 8 seconds. It is the fastest in the league, which that's not very fast.
That's not very
That's not
Gen.G
very,
either.
yeah, that's not very quick. But the average loss time,
They
Hanwha
really
Life
like to
Esports,
draw them out, don't they?
Yeah.
Whereas Hanwha are like, nope, go next, boys.
Yep.
But it is still 29.5 minutes, which is pretty long in and of itself.
Also,
not too many shellackings for these guys.
take a look at some highlights.
Yeah.
Their game against T1.
This is the one that they actually managed to pick up a win. Akali as well, able to pick up a win. It's great news for them. This was all about Clid. Picked up the player of the game for this one as well. Was just everywhere on the Jarvan, and it was impossible to kill him.
Yeah. Was able to
real
do
skill.
so much inside of this game. BDD also having a really good Zoe performance, and this was
so good. And now Galio's been buffed. Those Winds of War are going to be hurting for even more, and they last even longer.
Yeah.
Look at this, back-to-back
Heroic
three-man
entrance.
taunts. Like, really? Just
Well,
nutty.
Just not impressed.
No, not
You
impressed? Okay.
I feel like BDD could have done it a little bit better right there.
Well, let's check out some Tryndamere highlights. No, we're not going to get them here. Of course, we're going to jump over to a Yuumi game. Full of hens. He's still real good on it. Now the pick is even better than it used to be. Misfortune, though, losing a little bit of attack speed growth might hurt her pick rate here in the LCK, but I don't think so. I think her utility is still going to be up there, and of course her teamfight presence is something that hasn't been hit. Bullet time, not nerfed at all. See whether it does hurt her ridiculous ability to stay alive. If you remember Teddy in a team fight, just auto-attacking minions to stay alive forever while getting wailed on by a Camille. Which doesn't seem like something an AD carry can do.
Well, Misfortune's still probably going to be a mainstay in the meta as well as the Affilio Senna. I mean, she's already been struggling a lot in LCK as it is.
Yeah.
So
now do we feel like she's more of a support, though, based on the changes?
So what some people are trying to do in other regions is have the invert where Senna starts off as a support and then ends up becoming the AD carry in the later stages once she gets the ball going. And
I do want to reference this key player just real quick because the CSD at 15 is crazy. Haru has just been hard farming, whereas Clid has been taking control of some of these early games. Has been on, the Sejuani a couple of times, a few different picks here for the Gen.G jungler, but does certainly show that he has been getting around the jungle and getting into lanes and making sure that he affects that way because his XP per level, in the early game is actually the fastest.
Yes.
So he must be getting into a lane, taxing some of that experience, but also getting these early kills. As we welcome the players on stage, we apologize, guys. We are still frightened of the coronavirus, so still no audience members, no handshakes for the coaches, things like that.
Enough, I haven't heard anything on it in the last few days.
Yeah, it feels like it has been calming down just a little bit. But I assume that that's just because we've got really short attention spans. It's probably still a massive deal over in China, but we just haven't been Haven't been paying too much attention. Thankfully, it hasn't spread too much further here in Korea or anything like that. Nothing to worry about, but still better to be safe than sorry, everyone. That's why even when we're looking at interviews, you know, Ashley Kang, for example, wears a mask just to show her respect to the players, to make sure that, you know, everyone is going to be all safe and sound in every avenue that we take here at the LCK, because we don't want our players to get sick. As that is going to be your starting roster. No surprises on the Gen.G side. Hanwha Life, we'll see whether it is going to be Vista once again towards the bottom side, and I assume that that is going to be how it goes. I'm a bit sad that we haven't seen Lava, because as you'll see in 1 second, there it is. Tempt is going to be in the mid lane here for Hanwha Life, and Lava was good, man. He was real good. Whereas Tempt was the Azir player, now Azir's been buffed. So
not gonna make it.
I guess we're doing some Corky Azir. BDD versus Tempt. What do you reckon?
Well,
Zoe Azir?
No, I don't think that the changes to either Corki or Azir will suddenly make them viable. I think that the changes are pretty laughable.
Okay.
And so for people that want to choose Azir, they're gonna choose Azir anyway. But the changes are not going to be influential in pro play. How many professional games would Azir actually have to be played where that specific change ended up being something that was necessary to win the game? Like,
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
His wall's longer. You know?
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It does annoy people, that wall.
That is true.
Maybe there's a certain position on the Infernal map that he can block off now that he has an extra Sand Soldier. Have you thought about that, LS?
I mean, have you thought about blocking the mid-minion wave with an Anivia wall and then putting yourself in between the turret and the wall and then having your minions go to Narnia?
Or the Rift Herald. Did you see that?
Yeah. Or the Scuttle Crab.
So
Syndra
good.
can pin Scuttle Crab to the turret.
Yeah, you can. You can do that too.
So no one gets Scuttle Crab.
Anivia decides which minions you're allowed to get.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. As Kalista and Soraka both banned away, of course, we're expecting Soraka to be basically 100% banned, especially from our intelligent teams here in Gen.G and Hanwha Life as far as finger on the pulse, understanding the meta.
I also assume Gen.G will go with a third ban on Yuumi. Hanwha Life, if they're... Yeah, okay, there's the Aphelios. And
Ruler
so,
will just play Ezreal. Guaranteed.
Ruler, yeah.
He's one of our Ezreal players.
Now, if they... Yeah, there's the Yuumi on 3. Hanwha Life now, they could also ban the MF.
Yeah, if they do that, then it's 100... I think it's basically 100% first pick Ezreal.
Yes.
In my opinion. But
okay,
it is
so
going to be the Xayah.
Not going to be... Yeah. And that is a
Ornn
very
is still
fast
available.
B1 Ornn. And I'm putting my Holy Water. I'm going to put it away a little bit. As it doesn't seem like we have any sinners.
Not looking like it. We don't need
Never
to
mind.
exercise anyone, as the
Never
Mordekaiser does come out in response to the Ornn.
So
I mean, I don't mind Mordekaiser into Ornn in late game fights because the Death Realm is so powerful against him to stop him from annoying everyone. And you do have Leandri, so you can cut down his health quite well.
Ornn gives all of his teammates so many stats. It's just so absolutely bonkers
That is true.
when that ends up happening. So, B1 Ornn,
Oh,
R1,
man.
R2, MF, Mordekaiser, and now Gen.G responding with Jarvan Zoe. And this is a lot of info. Okay, well, we almost made it through the first phase.
I think the Braum is there just to try and protect people from the Zoe. Bit of a response pick up there as the Taric is going to be banned away. So despite the fact that they've already banned the Kalista, they are respecting the Taric X combo.
And they'll probably end up banning away Ezreal so that they don't have to deal with Zoe
I would
Ezreal.
assume so, yeah.
That was one of the most dominant meta picks in terms of styles that you could end up taking. Lee Sin being banned away, even though Lee Sin does not have a lot of synergy with Hanwha Life's champions as it currently stands, and also Gen.G's champs are all just really good against it right now, so a little bit peculiar to see that end up biting the dust.
Come on, find that Ezreal button.
And
I'm alive. What are you doing?
I imagine that Gen.G will ban Syndra as the next champion, and then Hanwha Life will end up going Rek'Sai on R4.
I think Syndra or LeBlanc could be the options here.
Well,
Depending on
LeBlanc,
what
that's an
BDD.
insecure Zoe.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. As Tom is going to be the ban here on Hanwha Life's side. I'm glad to see the ban because it means no one can pick it, but I don't think that Gen.G were ever going to pick Tom Cash. in
the
that
top
instance.
Okay, so Yasuo gets really banned, or Yasuo gets banned away, and I
Why
guess
not ban Gragas instead?
yeah, that strikes me as very bizarre. You should want to implore them to pick a Yasuo that doesn't really have a theme fitting with it.
Yeah.
But I guess what they're also thinking is that Yasuo maybe has potency, just being picked by himself, because combined with the Braum, it can really just shut down the Ornn ultimates pretty reliably.
The double wall.
Right, the double wall. But Pantheon now picked up. We saw what Chovy was able to do to Pantheon. 2 different players, 2 different games, complete annihilation. And so this is why the second ban phase here for Hanwha Life is just so confusing to me. The Tom as well as the Taric.
Oh, here we go. The Rumble support coming in for Life. I'm really happy to see it. This is 10.3, so Scrap Shield did take a little bit of a nerf. And I guess, in theory, he took like a 0.1 base damage nerf as well in the tidy up of numbers. But otherwise, it's going to be all right. But that is going to be a Karthus. LS? Karthus has been locked away. Don't know where the Mordekaiser and the Pantheon are going, but that's some burly boys in the solo lanes. A misfortune to stand in the backline, throw out some bullet times, and they have a hell of a lot of AoE damage in these team fights with a lot of team fight potential, actually, out of the Pantheon, who can mitigate a lot of damage, especially alongside the Braum. That feels a little bit double wally. And then Cuvée on the Mordekaiser will be very durable come late game.
So the issue for me with this Hanwha Life team composition is, number one, you have the Mordekaiser, which is incentivizing Magic Resist to be built by Gen.G, which is something that you never want to do with Karthus because it makes him fall off of a cliff.
Yeah.
In the mid to late game, which is not something that is ideal. You also have a Pantheon, but it's a Pantheon in a lane where he can't establish lane priority. And so when the Jarvan has multiple modes and he's able to just go tank, which is really durable, constantly pressure the Karthus, and a Pantheon who's constantly shoved underneath the turret, relying on Grand Skyfall, the Ezreal being as agile as he is in team fights, and having the Rumble up there doesn't really feel like, to me, it's a very good Karthus spot. And so even though Gen.G drafted a bit bizarre, especially banning the Yasuo away and then rounding out their draft, it feels like they fell into a victory because Hanwha Life just gave it to them inside of the draft phase.
Yeah, I mean, there are some added things as well. More of Malmortius is built so easily as a third item on Ezreal.
Yes.
When it is so comfortable. We saw that even without Karthus being on the other side. A lot of opportunities for nullifying Orb. We had a big conversation about this on the Pog State Episode 2, which is out now. Came out yesterday. So you can go and check that out for all of your Karthus needs. And I actually want to reference it because we did have we were having a discussion about one of the LEC games where it was Kassadin Karthus, and I was talking to you about, you know, that the damage variance not being necessarily the best, but you mentioned that, you know, Kassadin picked in that position was smart, and you're just saying that Mordekaiser isn't necessarily a big enough counterpick to the Ornn to justify going double magic damage on this comp.
And Haru, interestingly enough, he has the... we've seen this actually a few times now in the LCK. They're still going Presence of Mind as well as Coup de Grace.
Interesting.
Rather than going Cosmic Insight as well as Magical Boots, so that you're able to just keep powering into items. So it's a little surprising why Karthus is here in LCK are choosing these runes, because these aren't really the runes in solo queue either.
Interesting.
And I'm getting my holy water prepared. I don't want to see a first item Morello.
Actually, I was watching Monday Night League on the LCS. They were having a bit of a Morello discussion, and they were agreeing with you. Just want to shout out Prolly there for obviously taking his holy water that morning. But a lot of the conversation about, you know, why the players must be doing it is an interesting one as well, because a lot of what Prolly was talking about was basically laziness, identifying that, you know, it's got Magic Pen, AP, and health, and those all seem like good stats, so why don't we just build the item? Was interesting because I basically just heard you mold about it forever.
Yeah,
and,
it's been a year and a half.
Yeah, mostly like, but without justification for why they might decide to pick it in the first place, because you were pretty sure that there was no reason to pick it at all. I mean, Haru's taking a lot of damage from his wolves here.
There was a really interesting thing that I had on stream. I had a really long conversation while doing co-streaming of LCS where there was even a spot where there was a lot of healing on the enemy team, and still Leandres would outshine Morello in that spot. And I think that was a really interesting one for a lot of people, because Leandres can even actually outshine Deathcap in some spots,
it depends on which
insane.
champion it is,
Right,
and
yeah.
like the abilities that you have. But if it's on like a Rumble or a Mordekaiser, and because Mordekaiser's passive does so much ticking damage, that anything like a Leandres is just so extraordinarily valuable. So Cassiopeia is another example, because you're a machine gun with your spells, and you have a poison, and like dots are just so incredibly strong. In fact, the item is just so good. Cassio, that's why you see people first item that choice.
Madness so quickly. And so, talking about this game here, so we already mentioned the Mordekaiser is going to be a bit of a problem. And I'm blanking on the rune that Zoe had, but obviously we don't have, and also Rumble. I'm forgetting if either of them had.
was Inspiration secondary.
No,
I
but
don't know what he actually
the
decided to go
nullifying
for.
orb.
No,
Or
I
do they have-
didn't see any nullifying orbs.
That's
I
really
was
bad.
I was observing it,
That's
and
really
I didn't
sad.
want. I really didn't want to mention it because.
Right.
Oh, Clint's looking for a Karthus, though, and I think you should find him. There's the knockup. Haru gets exhausted, down to 100 health. First blood
And
over to life.
This
On
is
the Rumble, all too easy here for Gen.G.
a byproduct of what I was talking about inside of the draft phase. The Pantheon never has prio in this lane. And even though, well, we can do this from one of two angles. Is BDD not doing as well as Chovy did, or is Temp doing a really good job? Obviously, we're only getting selective camera pans over to the lane, so it's a little difficult to talk about, but...
BDD is one of our best Zoe players.
Yes.
Basically none. I mean, there's a top 4 that we were talking about, as we're going to check out Clid. And he finds a Karthus, and he says, let's go kill it.
And you can just see he's able to do this. Zoe has Pantheon completely shoved in. I have no idea what Haru's doing. I'll be completely honest with you.
Well, he's not flashing, I'll give you that much.
Yeah.
As that was very easy for Clid. His Jarvan, if you remember back to Worlds, guys, Clid's Jarvan is probably the best in the world. He's extraordinarily good at this. But still, that was pretty cookie cutter.
This game is really looking a bit like a Go Next Fast, and I know that sounds...
I mean, that's what
maybe
Hanwha's
a little
style
bit early.
is. They do love that.
They do like to go next fast, and that's where we need the Papa Smithy image that is very popular in the LCK Discord. The go next fast, as you can just see. This is what we were talking about earlier. That is a byproduct of all of the lanes. Jarvan, who has the modes where he can be aggressive, he can gank a lot, he can pressure a lot, and be durable by going into tank. He's able to just constantly walk into Karthus.
Well, Clid's going to just walk in and get a free flash in trade for a Searing Charge. Really nice from Clid so far. He's just not taking too much. Decides that they don't want to actually go for that dive or anything like that, because it was 2v2 and they would be underneath the turret. But getting the flash is exactly what he wanted, is he'll go back, clear out his jungle, and then proceed back up top to try and capitalize on that summoner spell that they just collected. Mordekaiser absolutely a sitting duck, and so we'll now have to play this lane much differently. So, like, unable to stop the backs here as BDD doesn't find the bubble under Tempt.
And while Tempt is staying really close in the CS department, has already used his teleport. BDD still stuck in the lane for the time being. Also, Storkpen Boots, first item, so gonna use this to coast into Lost Chapter next. As Clid, he's falling very far behind in the XP department. This is one of the things about Karthus, is that you have to really put him 6 feet under in order to take him out of the game, because his ability to just keep power farming and coming online is almost a surety in most games.
It's just whether or not Gen.G can continue putting on the pressure inside these lanes as well, so that they don't give Haru the space to get that work done. As Tempt looking for BDD. Heal has been picked up. Clid, he's just figuring that a Mountain Drake will be exactly where they want to go. We'll see what the second Drake is, and then we'll be able to contemplate the Dragon Souls available
Also,
in our first game of week 3.
Okay, so he got 1 magic resistance.
It's not very much magic resistance.
The Jarvan.
Yeah.
Wanted to let you know that. He got 1.
Well, I mean, who knows? if he survives on 1 health later in this game.
Hey, you know, it could.
It's happened before.
Yeah, it actually did happen. We
Uh-huh.
had a Mountain Drake come into play.
Plus, it's only going to be more beneficial the more magic resist that he builds
True.
up, you know.
True. Any truers?
Yeah.
As it is, Ornn building right into Abyssal Mask, first item. And Ezreal has the tier right now. Pantheon can't really play the game. Karthus does have level 6, still does not have Runic Echo.
I do want to talk a little bit about how the Pantheon can't really play the game, but has stayed relatively competitive in CS. This has a lot to do with BDD just shoving waves into Tempt, so that Tempt has no other option but to stick in the lane. He's level 7 now. He hasn't been able to use that Grand Skyfall at all, because BDD's told him that he just can't. Because he's been just making sure that Tempt is always on the screen and dealing with these creeps. So just a little bit of a playstyle choice, I believe, from BDD, who does have the most gold in the game, despite not picking up the first blood. And that's just because he's farming these minions very, very well. So he goes back. That lost chapter you were talking about is going to be purchased. And now Clid moves on over to another Rift Scuttler. And denying as many camps from a Karthus is definitely a good idea.
So this is one of the issues with teams that draft Karthus without actually getting the Karthus spots, is because 3 of the lanes for Hanwha Life don't actually have any advantages inside of them. You have the Ornn that, if he's played right, is favored against Mordekaiser, and it's really interesting that, much like LCK teams or teams all around the world picking Morden to set. Hold on.
That's the Cataclysm. It's going to get a double knock up there as the Ornhorn comes in. Door is going to block it, but it's not going to save the Karthus. He'll be alive for a little while longer, but there's the Grand Skyfall from Tempt right in amongst 3 people. Requiem picks up 1 kill, and Cuvée now moving on down. Clid just slides his way out, and Shelly was helping Hanwha Life over there on the side. BDD looking for some follow-up kills. But Ruler has just been left on his own, and he will be able to take a few plates and continue pressuring this bottom lane. Still an advantage for Gen.G.
And so, I mean, it's a massive win. You factor in the 2 plates as well as the minion wave that Ruler ends up getting that Vista did not. That's kill as well. So,
And teleport available
right,
for Rascal,
right.
so he'll be able to get back and protect his
teleport
turret.
as well. And so this ends up really just being a 3-for-1. So Cataclysm comes out, Life doesn't have level 6 yet. He actually gets it on the kill onto Karthus. Equalizer cast, honestly, a little bit late, which was a bit surprising. He ends up casting it as Vista comes in, and then Mordekaiser really late to the party. And as I was saying right before this ended up happening, when you pick Karthus, you want to make sure that your laners are actually really good against their opponents. Because if that ends up happening, the enemy jungler feels pressured to gank. And then if your laners are playing correctly, the enemy jungler wastes time ganking, and Karthus accelerates at a speed that they can't catch back up to.
Yeah.
And it just ends up becoming so oppressive where eventually they'll hit tab, and Karthus has doubled the CS. He's up 2.5 levels on you, and it just feels like a nightmare. But in this instance, because all the lanes for Gen.G are so stable and able to be so controlled, Clid just able to get that initial kill onto Karthus and go into farming. And then not much is really happening here.
Yeah, and also now has his Cinderhulk completed, so he'll be a little bit faster. He's only behind 11 CS, which is approximately 3 camps. You could say, I believe he's taxed a few minions there, so maybe 2 camps and a few lane creeps, but otherwise it's all fine. BDD very, very close, getting that Luden's Echo power spike, especially alongside the Sock Boots. It is a fair bit of damage, and also will help the wave clear, which will hold Tempt in position for even longer. He's got Mercury Treads, has built up his first serrated Dirk, but this Pantheon is not doing what we want him to in this mid-game thus far. 40 seconds on the Infernal Drake. It will be either a Cloud Soul or an Ocean Soul. I believe everyone is going to be praying for the Ocean Soul this game. Slahens avoids Paddle Star. He picks up a little bit of a ghost here as he tries to clear out a Control Ward. Cuvée in trouble though. You can see Rascal, now that he's got that Abyssal Mask, he's real happy in this lane. Only a couple of levels away from being able to start ornamenting his items. And Gen.G are just very happy.
Because of the amount of magic damage on the side of Gen.G, Ezreal obviously also even dealing some magic damage himself. Well,
As Vista
Vista has the flash, gonna manage to get away there.
You can see Clid, once again, he gets a flash, he walks out. He had Flag and Drag there, I believe, unless he used it to get over the wall initially. but decides once that summoner spell goes in, doesn't move too far forward because Tempt had the ability to follow up. But they're denying any of these follow-up opportunities from Hanwha Life. It's just played really, really well as Lehens. He's in trouble. Clid, of course, doesn't have the Cataclysm, but there's the equalizer. Lehens, the final tick before he gets off. It is going to take him down as it's supportal combat, but Life does it from extraordinarily long range. Speedy finds a bubble. Gets it onto Tempt, but otherwise he's going to be all right. Doesn't have a lot of mana here. He's going to be asking his lost chapter for the instructions on getting back more mana. I think base is going to be the greatest decision here.
This game is really doomed at this point. You're going to have magic resistance start coming in. You already have a stopwatch on Jarvan. And what I was mentioning a second ago before he jumped onto Vista down in bot lane is this is a really good spot for Clid to actually build Abyssal Mask. He doesn't really deal any magic damage himself. I mean, I guess you have the Cinderhulk burn.
But if you're there, you're amplifying everybody else's damage.
You're amplifying all of your teammates' damage, and the ornament upgrade for it is such insane value. So combine that with Cinderhulk, it's really good. Really surprising, Rascal went... Rascal didn't go for Karthus.
Life very happy about being able to pick up that kill on his Rumble. Trinity Force almost done here for Ruler as well. As we can see, there's been a few moments where Gen.G's been able to really push forward this gold advantage. Sitting at about 3,000 for our team. Well and truly top of the standings at the moment. After this victory, they will be moving to absolute first place, but Dragon X can pull back ahead with a win over T1 in our next match. But if T1 win that one, we're super close. Yeah. As our season progresses, as far as the top of the standings are concerned, really does feel like our top 4 teams are really battling it out. Would have been a really fun summer season, you know, with 4 teams all really vying for those world spots. We only have 1 spot heading over to MSI, however. See who's going to earn that honor. Because right now,
and MSI is a really big question mark right now because the LPL is still indefinitely
who knows what's
on
gonna
pause.
happen.
So I have
feeling
no
it
idea.
still will exist. It's just in what capacity is going to be the question, as Biddy has to use his heal.
I have an idea.
What's that?
All the LPL teams just fly over to another region.
Oh.
And just start conducting LPL from another region. But I guess that doesn't work because there's travel bans on some countries right now, right? By China?
Yeah, and I think there's a few people that are stuck places. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think there was talk about yeah, someone from EDG stuck
also
in Wuhan.
visas would be really, yeah.
I think it might have been Clear Love actually, but I'm not entirely sure.
Well,
yeah, certainly a lot of problems over there. As Lehens, he might be caught out of position. Does get the stand behind me before the bubble goes off, but there's the Cataclysm. Ornhorn coming on in here as he gets pushed back right on top of Vista. And now Tempt gets flashed away from. BDD still trying to survive as there's the Requiem.
Oh.
He's in the Death Realm. BDD actually going to survive, though. I think save because you can't get hit by Requiem in the Death Realm. Eventually he does go down, so at least that solves that one. But Cube is now going to be dead, and Ruler, he's at full health. Able to pop off anyone underneath this turret, and I have a feeling they will be able to take it right here.
Yeah, this game is just really, really spiraling out of control. It's a 4,000 lead for Gen.G, but Hanwha Life, their team composition does not scale better than Gen.G's. It is so grossly imbalanced because of the ornaments, as well as just the fact that there's too heavy of magic damage on the side of Hanwha Life, incentivizing the resistances. So Cataclysm comes out, Ornhorn ends up becoming Bounce Town, and then watch Haru not even paying attention to Ornn right behind him.
Oh, he just got interrupted. That was the problem.
Yeah.
All right. Thought there was some weird interaction with the Death Realm. My apologies, everyone. Was more noticing Cuvée standing, trying to take down BDD. And eventually getting it, but it not quite being enough. And that gold lead has extended to almost 4,000.
And here's the other thing about this, is that there's no Dark Harvest stacks on Karthus. So he doesn't deal as much damage as Haru would probably be used to. And now you look at the items on the side of Gen.G. Abyssal Mask just ended up getting upgraded, or it did hit level 12. You have magic resistance now coming in on Jarvan. I think Zoe's going to build a Banshee's Veil. And you also factor in the Mountain Dragon that has been picked up. So, all that I have to let you know, Atlas, is that if I see that Blasting Wand and Amp Tome turned into a Morellonomicon...
well, let's just hope that it doesn't get there, because so far we've got Gen.G with a gigantic lead, massive amounts of control over this game. And look, it could be second item void stuff, like who knows? The one thing I do like is that Ruler is a Trinity Force user in the bottom lane, and the Ornament Trinity Force is like super strong, just because extra flat stats on one of the items that has some of the most flat stats in the game is always going to be a good thing. True Shot Barrage, and the door was there. So putting Unbreakable on cooldown, I guess, was the aim here. And in goes Cleared. That means that no door to stop this one. Vista knocked up and taken out of this fight is now Cuvee. Puts life into the Death Realm. That Scrap Shield will be coming up relatively soon, as now Cuvee getting harpooned by the Rumble and isn't able to take him down in time. Will eventually get out, spams the W to keep himself alive, as now BDD not going to find the bubble there. An ambitious one. Life will be falling. It's going to be enough with the Requiem to take him down. So a little bit of respite here for Hanwha Life, but they will still lose this dragon.
And this will bring the game to Soul Point. Congratulations, you did win the Twitter poll. Woohoo!
We did it. I stole that off every other
know
League of
you bought
Legends
the box.
broadcast anyway, so that's fine. I think I heard Clayton say it first, so shout out to Captain Flowers. As this was Shelly taking down the turret, while the rest of Gen.G just took up everyone's time. The equalizer this time was put down on top of the Cataclysm, which has been a combo that's worked very, very well for a very long time. And Cleared actually playing this one out more as just a knock-up bot, just wandering around, making sure that he was a body and then would drop aggro out from the side, and that's why he was able to keep everyone's time for so long. Good night, Sweet Rumble, as the second kill for Haru does come in. He's got a couple of... Oh no, don't look at his items, just don't do it. It's not worth it.
What is wrong?
Well, you see...
Okay,
you know how normally I've got a spiel
has
as...
magic resist every... No, that's another camera. Hold on. Let me take another... I got a collection of these. Okay. Yeah, this is... Jesus. Well,
that's
that's
called
a yikes.
LS's naughty list. And
Yeah,
I don't think Haru is getting any presents at Christmas.
oh man.
Yeah, that is coal.
This has to be the worst Morello purchase I think I've actually seen.
Yeah, this is a horrendous one. Because not only
do
is
they
there
all
no
have
healing,
magic resistance,
but it's the
and
magic resist.
no healing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Atlas, what are you talking about? Look at the door on split on Ezreal. But there's a Mountain Dragon as well on Gen.G. This is so terrible. Haru just has his brain turned off.
Yeah, it's
when
not
hitting
good.
tab.
Hopefully, he just doesn't turn the Oblivion Orb into anything. But even then, they've got too much magic resist, so it's still bad. Doesn't matter. Doesn't save him. Sorry, mate. This is not one of those times on, like, this assignment is never going to get better. Just redo it.
There's also the Conqueror on J4, Alice.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yes, so...
Oh, man.
When
And
Jarvan,
the Grasp of the Undying on Rascal.
When Jarvan hits you for 100 damage and he heals 15%.
Yeah, BDD also took Summoner Spell Heal, so...
Yes.
You know, maybe, just maybe, the Morellonomicon is just
This
straight
is,
up the
honestly,
best
it's
item
just
ever.
Morello shaming.
Well, Tempt down to about half health, but the W is going to run out. Out goes Cleared, but oh, he actually had enough damage there. I believe that was from the Smite. Was able to take him down in the end. Calculated from the jungler on Gen.G's side. Now Ruler is going to get to work on this top outer turret that still needs a fair bit of damage added to it to take it down. 1-0 and 5 from Cleared. I mean, his Jarvan is just so comfortable. Just seems like he knows exactly how much he needs to do in every instance in order to win a team fight.
Well, I think that, you know, he's been having a really good performance here this game, and everyone on the side of Gen.G has just been playing extremely clean. Only nuance would be some itemization issues, but pretty much that would be all. As BDD comes in here, Cataclysm to lock up Tempt, and yeah,
All too easy.
Mordekaiser just going to continue to shove out. Looks like he's going Nashor's Tooth second item.
It's a very damage-heavy build here from Cuvée. Not what you see all the time, but I like it more than going for Proto Belt or something like that.
Well,
has finished it now, so
yeah.
getting put in the Death Realm is a scary thing.
Stopwatches are plentiful on the side of Gen.G right now. They have, obviously, the stopwatch on Orange Arvin, Zanya's Hourglass on Zoe. Trinity Fusion now complete.
Yep.
For Ruler. That has been upgraded by Orange.
The Triforce of Power. Goes from courage to power is how that works.
I like that.
Yeah.
As Adaptive Helm is picked up by Cliff. So
also, the Burning Face going to come in for life as well, so
yeah.
Rumble has the only item that he'll ever need. Certainly synergizes extraordinarily well with the Equalizer, which is all he's going to be throwing down on top of these Cataclysms that are going to come in. So here in 23 minutes, Gen.G have hit their absolute stride when it comes to Teamfight Power. 2 items for Ezreal and the Zoe, as well as getting the first main item for life on his Rumble. Should be Cloud Soul easily over to this Gen.G squad, and they still have a control ward on the Baron Pit, so it's not like it's going to get traded or anything like that. Cleared over to the side, just trying to block people out. As the bubble lands onto Haru. Oh my goodness, Lahen's moved out of the way. There's the Equalizer. True Shot Barrage will complete that kill, but he's alive for a little bit longer in his passive. Cuvée has put Clid into the Death Realm, but he has that stopwatch from earlier. Death's Grasp comes in, Clid gets all the shields and doesn't even go down. Ruler picks up that kill, and Gen.G say, Cloud Soul or Baron?
Yeah.
Maybe the Baron's what we're after.
Well, they are prioritizing the Baron. I think this is actually a great choice. You can see the pings by Vista, though. BDD reading this knows, okay, well, I see what you're trying to do. And it's a good decision by Vista. He should be actively looking to think about things like that. Like, okay, they're getting the Baron. What's the best thing I can do in this moment?
Yep.
Heads over to the Dragon to try to deny it. Not going to be able to.
Just a heads-up play here from Gen.G, identifying exactly what they're able to take. And now it should mean that the Baron will allow them to get the Cloud Soul, as this is the power of not only Zoe, but BDD's beautiful Zoe and a coordinated team, right? Like, the follow-up after you get that huge of a chunk from this squad is just insane with the range of Equalizer and True Shot Barrage. As Clid, oh man, Cuvée most certainly was a little bit rigged in that moment. But sometimes, Haru, when you buy the Forbidden Book, you don't like what you read. And I think he skipped to the end and saw a defeat screen.
I mean, you didn't see good things in Morello.
Yeah, you know how there's those people that, like, whenever they buy a book, they open it up to the last page?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that you?
No, I'm never like
You're
that.
never
I
like
actually
that?
hate that. Like,
You're honest?
why would you do it? You're just
I
giving
mean,
away, like...
why do you think Leandre's image is crying tears of blood? Probably read Morello.
Yeah, that's the problem. This is the savior of Morello. Is okay, Tempt overshoots Ruler by just a little bit. Still trying to get out of position here, but Death's Grasp is not going to find the target, and he gets over the wall. So no one's going to be able to find Ruler. He's got QSS, so isn't going to be too worried about a Death Realm, and now the re-engage comes in. Rascal is going to find Lahan, finds a Searing Charge and life. He's going to finish off that kill with another Equalizer. Maybe didn't need to go that far, as another Death Realm comes out onto life, but he avoids the Death's Grasp and takes Cuvée on a merry jaunt, ends up flashing away. I'm not sure he's going to survive this. He isn't, but BDD is going to be able to take down the top laner. And support for top, you'll take that any day of the week as the turrets begin to fall. BDD goes golden using his Zonyas, and now Haru tries to find some Skittles. Gets a slowdown, but BDD is going to survive. Now he's going to go back home. You need another Requiem in that chamber to try and take this guy down, but he doesn't have it. As Ruler is still going aggressive. He is so strong right now. Has the Blade of the Ruin King now completed on top of everything else. And these Qs are really starting to hurt. Lahen's diving on forward, but Ruler has so many safe avenues of escape that he will be absolutely fine. And Rascal is a split pushing on.
Yeah.
Before this game, by the way, Rascal was on 100% win rate on the Ornn over 3 games with a 17 KDA.
Okay, well, I mean, I think that's quite nice.
It ain't bad.
As we take a look at this replay,
everyone's trying to find Ruler, but it's like he's playing hide and seek and just avoids everything.
Mordekaiser
blast cones Cuvée away.
can't even actually Death Realm him. He would end up losing inside of the Death Realm.
Well,
by
also,
himself.
there was a QSS.
There's a
so
QSS as well.
Doesn't even matter.
But Ruler would probably just say to him that I'm not trapped in here with you.
You're
trapped in here with me. Trapped in here with me. As Life ends up eventually being brought down by the Requiem. He's actually, I believe, the one target that the Sork Pen Boots plus the magic penetration from Morello is actually beneficial against, but still, pretty bad purchase.
Not going to quite be good enough. As now we've got Elder Drake up in 3.5 minutes. It's going to be Gen.G's next target. Baron's going to be respawning in 2.5. They weren't really able to break open the base or anything like that on Gen.G's side, but they have a 9,000 gold lead, which is only amplified further by all of these ornaments that are being strewn around the team. Still yet to find an item upgradable for Clid. Please just build something that can be upgraded. Randuin's, that's not the answer. You can't build a Sunfire Cape, so Abyssal Mask would have been fine. We were talking about. We can see total damage dealt pretty high for Cuvee actually, towards the top side, but he's been wailing on an Ornn this entire game. And Ruler, he's been poking everyone out. BDD 6k damage over his opposite number in Tempt, which is more than double the contribution of the Pantheon, who really hasn't found a way into this game whatsoever.
And I mean, Pantheon pick just really didn't work out. It came in at a really awkward point inside of the draft, wasn't able to really achieve anything, and this ends up looking like one of those drafts where you can walk away from it and be like, yeah, we got really good champions, and then you see how the champions actually stack up against the opponents, at what points they come online, how do they function, and it's just not a draft win at all. And also, just don't pick another heavy magic damage champion when you pick Karthus.
Mm-hmm. And also, it's hard to pick it into Ornn anyway, because he loves building Abyssal Mask regardless.
So it makes absolutely no sense. This was normally, you know, I'm very excited to see Karthus, but
yeah, I know.
I think we're seeing why Karthus died in Ornn, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, he's died a few times this game as well. 3-3 thus far on Haru. No assists is exactly the life a Karthus wants to lead, but have a look at Vista. He is actually 2 full completed items down. And one of Ruler's items is the most expensive with an ornament. This
is the other really fun thing, is we're starting to see more and more mage supports and unorthodox supports come in, and I mean, we saw it in the laning phase. What did Braum really do? And do we really think Braum is adding more value to this game than the Rumble? Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, what Braum is trying to do is blocking rams to deny
he's doing virtually nothing, and so I'm really hoping that as more and more time exists, enchanters and mages become more appreciated, and the support players around the world that want to scoff at the notion that the tank supports are somehow more viable. It reminds me of the 80 carries that couldn't pilot mages in the 80 carry position.
Yeah, it's like when the awesome dudes were so popular in Europe and it hadn't quite caught on in Korea. It does feel a little bit like that.
The inability to pilot the champion to the level that they should be played at is an argument.
Well, Tempt is probably the right champion to discover a whole lot of people in the Fnatic brush. Just mitigates all the damage. He's going to be all right. Hands looks for Ruler, doesn't find him. Ruler just dancing around these fights. Death Grasp, not going to find anything. Clid on the flank, looks for Vista, finds him as well as Haru has been taken out immediately. He will have a Requiem to offer this fight, but I don't even know whether he's going to use it. Exactly. Wants to use it after the respawn because he knows he's not going to actually be able to find any kills, as Lahens is going to be taken down by Ruler, and Gen.G are going to continue this push. The Ram flies forward. Tempt not going to be able to block all that damage as True Shot Barrage from downtown will pick up that kill. BDD, you've got his Zhonya's. Press the dang button. He frightened all of us for a little while there, as seems that they can tank the turret for approximately 16 years. Here for Gen.G, Rascal and Clid are incredibly tanky, but these inhibitor turrets and inhibitors are not. There's the minion wave they were waiting for. Flag goes down for that attack speed. Nexus turrets are going to fall, and Gen.G with a masterclass on how to dismantle this Karthus comp come out with their first win of the series.
And it was a massive team composition gap in this game number 1, but also Clid playing phenomenal in the early game. BDD doing his job, keeping the Pantheon underneath the turret. Ornn just doing Ornn things, and
I love
really-
that we start off 10.3 without like 3 of our best Ezreal players as well that are currently in the LCK, in Ruler, Teddy, and Deft, that are going to be all playing. Teddy and Deft, of course, in our second series, because that was pretty ridiculous, the amount that Ruler was able to get done. And around the mid game as well, might see a speed up in some of these games with the fact that these Zoe Ezreal comps are really going to come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, they are.
I think that it should be looked at, though, because after that Zoe was locked in, you and I were looking at Hanwha saying, it's Ezreal ban time, but they banned a Zyra away. They banned, like, Tom Kench.
They banned Tom and they banned Tarek. And
it was very odd.
I can't. So, we'll probably end up talking about this on Pog Day episode 3, but the more I'm watching...
We going with...
Yeah, I think we're going with that.
Yeah, we're going with that. Yeah.
We're, I think that what we're seeing more and more is that Hanwha Life does not... They don't win drafts, they've arrived at winning drafts. Which is one of the gripes that I take with most teams. You can end up arriving at a 1 draft. Gen.G just won this draft.
Yeah.
And even still, I mean, everything does leave you questioning, well, why are some things happening the way that they are? And, well, we'll see what game number 2 has in store. I think it's pretty evident Hanwha Life is not going to be able to beat Gen.G straight up.
Nope.
And if they draft like this again, it's just going to be another...
Well, sometimes the draft doesn't matter because your opposition is just too good. And right there, Gen.G honestly looked basically too good in every single role. Very exciting moving forward, though, given they just lost to T1. Let's see whether they can take it in a clean 2-0 after the break.
얘네 아예 시 없나 보다 이거. 이거 다시 미드 밀고 올게. 이번에 미드 밀고 들어가지 말자. 나 이거 본다. 궁대. 봐도 돼. 천천히 봐도 돼. 야, 내 자리 봐.
우리 천천히 조이자 여기 미포 쪽.
야, 카드 투수면. 나 미드 못한다. 카드 도와줄게. 카드 잡았어.
서플. 우리 모대 맞아.
모대 맞게.
모대 맞아. 들어가지 말고.
거의 티방. 나 여기 볼게.
미포 노플이야.
더 가야 돼.
미포 노플.
끝내자. 하나 이리 이거 나 지금 다 생각해.
앞을 대고. 하나 우리가 붙으려는 걸 줄면 앞을.
봤어? 끝내자. 나 생각해.
탑.
나 존냐 있어.
누나 있지. 탑 가자.
많이 빨리 밀어도